Greetings and welcome to Monster Legends for another special feeding episode. This time we're going to be feeding a nature mythic that I picked up at the recent Jungle Warriors Maze. And this is Azte. And Azte, of course, is a mythic. As I said, he's nature. He's very spiritual. He's part of the good legions, but he's also very into family. He's also very into open rune slots, which is very good because I don't want to spend the gems. And because of him, I don't have to. So let's find him a home. And yeah, I'm happy with you, dude, but no, not with the ladies. Sorry about that. However, there are some individuals where... Right here. Okay, we have some individuals here. You can't see them right now, but they're very happy to meet you. Okay, we had some mini-me stuff going on there. Interesting. Okay, so there's the little happy family right there, and where's our little friend? This is Faunus. Okay, we're gonna get him a good name. This is Azte. He is a mythic. He is nature. He has an evolving trait. Let's take a look at it. He begins at rank 0, immune to stun. At rank 1, he gains immunity to poison. At rank 3, he also gets a self-cast for self-precision, which means it's going to be a lot easier for him to hit targets. Very good, considering he is actually a controller. You got a better chance of landing your skills. It's going to work out a lot better for your team. So let's look at his initial stats. His strength is not really very good, but then again, that's not what he does. His life is actually pretty good for a controller there, kind of meaty. His speed is very good, so that's excellent for a controller, of course. You want the controller to get ahead of the other team so that he can do bad things to them before they can do bad things to your team. All right, so let's look at his initial skills. I'm Quaxel Rock. Deals moderate nature damage to one enemy. Okay, that's kind of strange. And more than a gemstone. Deals low nature damage to all enemies. Applies poison to all enemies. Okay, that's actually kind of useful. Low damage, but the poison is kind of useful. And of course, his special skill, Little Bomb. Deals heavy special damage to all enemies. Applies stun and daze to all enemies. Okay, I guess the bomb just looks like him, and it runs at the other side. Alright, that's actually kind of useful right there. Kind of useful indeed. Azte was the founder and the first emperor of the civilization that his descendant, Montezuma, had been ruling until Quaxel Croc rebelled against him. He was a beloved leader, and now his spirit has been reawakened to regain power for his dynasty. Okay, so is he against Quaxel Croc then? Because I kind of thought they were both quote-unquote good. I don't know. Should be interesting to see the way that turns out. Anyway, he's not going to be regaining any power until we stuff tomatoes in him. So let's get him to his final form at level 4. And there he is. He's ready to take over. I sense a power struggle coming. Alright, so let's go with the skills and see if he's a match for Quaxel Croc. Piety, please. Applies pyrophobic shield and torture immunity to itself. I think that means that you can only be damaged by skills of the fire element. Alright, so that's kind of interesting right there. Considering he's nature, that's why. Alright, well obviously we have to take that for now. Not going to keep that in the end. Alright, so let's continue to level 10. And another skill. Flying Punch. Deals very low damage to one enemy. Applies poison to one enemy. Gives extra turn to itself. Might be keeping that. So let's continue. This one, we're going to take a long trip here to level 20. Rock Hard. Removes all negative status effects from itself. Applies True Vision to itself. I'm not really sure, but I guess we can just put that there for now. I don't know, maybe that one. I kind of like that one, but of course we're not going to keep it. Alright, so let's continue to level 25. Hypnosis. Deals moderate nature damage to one enemy, applies possession twice to one enemy. Alright, that one is going to go there. Kind of like that one right there. Now, the reason you would try to apply possession twice is if the individual is, say, hardened or tough or has resistance. That way you're going to try twice, so it's easier to get through that resistance. Very, very useful indeed. Of course, it'll do nothing if the individual is immune, right? This is a matter of trying to break resistance. It's also decent enough hit for him, because after all, he's not a damage dealer. All right, so let's continue to level 35. Cast them all. Deals low nature damage to all enemies, applies possession to all enemies. Okay, so that's bread and butter right there. All right, we're going to put that right there, because that's what it's all about. He does possession, right? So that's the group one. The one we saw a moment ago was the single target one. All right, so let's see. He probably has like one more skill left, I think. Jade Absorption. Deals moderate nature damage to all enemies, applies poison and damage reduction to all enemies. All right, so that one is kind of useful indeed. I'm going to keep the extra turn one for the moment. All right, and we're going to put that one right there. All right, so I have two group ones. One that does this, the poison and the damage reduction, and the other one that does the possession. And then I have the single target double possession one, and then I have the low one, which does very low damage, gives poison, and gives an extra turn. See, the thing is, I'm already seeing that he's got a 3-round cooldown for this one, 2-round cooldown for this one, 3-round. So I'm thinking this one here might be rather useful, especially considering it does have a very low stamina cost. That kind of thing might be useful to get the big skills back quicker. All right, let's just get him to 60, because I do believe we've seen everything. Yes, we saw that one. All right, so let's just get him all the way to 60. Then we'll take a look to make sure we didn't miss anything. See if we want to make any more changes, but I don't really think so. The thing about Mythics is they don't have many skills, so it's easy to see the ones you want to keep, right? All right, let's just pop in here for a second. All right, that one, obviously, I just don't want to waste a turn with that. See, right now I have 3 skills that actively do bad things to the other team, and a 4th one that does something a little bit bad, but also reduces the cooldowns of the skills that you've used already. This one here, I mean, True Vision is good, but if you get him to rank 3, he's going to have the increased perception anyway, so, you know, I just don't see that as important. This one here, you know, if you could put that on somebody as opposed to just doing it to himself, or if it was a group one would probably be a little bit too powerful. But I mean, the thing about it is it just seems to be for himself, because that's what it says. It says for himself. So not really what I'm interested in. That one was good, but I mean, we do have the other one that does the poison and the damage reduction. So, you know, that's just the way that is. And this one, I mean, it's a 0 cooldown, but I don't think it quite fits in with what he's got. All right, let's check out his stats at level 60. Yeah, his strength isn't really terrific. His life is very good. It's nearly 22,000 at level 60, so very good. Speed is coming up on 3,100 there. Really good. You put a whole bunch of speed on him, he's going to move fast. And that's what you want. Remember, you want him to get ahead of the other team, and in his case, possess them so that they'll attack each other. Although chances are they'll probably use self-buffs or just charge. Usually the way it works. Okay, so let's just take another look at the final skills that I selected. We'll start with Cast Them All. Deals low nature damage to all enemies, applies possession to all enemies. All right, so it's low damage, but let's face it, he's not a damage dealer. That's not why you have him, right? It's the possession, right? So this is going to attempt to possess them. They can resist it, or maybe if they're immune, it just won't work. So you really have to choose your targets very well, right? I mean, if you have individuals over there who are immune to possession, he's not going to be able to do much to them, right? All right, and then we have this one, Hypnosis. Deals moderate nature damage to one enemy, applies possession twice to one enemy. Now, this one isn't going to do anything against someone who is immune to possession. However, if they have like toughness, if they're hardened, maybe they're a VIP or a War Master, so it's really hard to lay skills down on them, negative ones that is. Well, this one you're going to try twice, and you have a better chance of landing it. It's also a single target, and it's kind of the best damage he does. So if you have an individual who's dodging group attacks, this one might be very useful against them. And then we have Jade Absorption. Deals moderate nature damage to all enemies, applies poison and damage reduction to all enemies. Alright, so it's moderate damage, but it's low moderate damage. It's really all about the poison, and I guess the damage reduction. You know, damage reduction, that's going to be like, I think it's a 25%? Yeah, it's a 25%. So they're going to do 25% less damage with their physical hits. The big thing about this, of course, is laying down the torture effect of poison, which is going to do damage over town, and it's also going to reduce their power. So with this and this, they're actually going to do less damage in the combo, right? So this is actually a good attack here. Again, low damage to start with, but the poison will do torture effect over time, right? And if you're talking about mythics, it's going to be a large chunk of health because it is a percentage. And then finally, we have this one, Flying Punch. Deals very low nature damage to one enemy, applies poison to one enemy, gives one extra turn to itself. If somebody resisted a poison or you just want to poison them, this could be very useful for that. The big thing here is the extra turn. I mean, that's really what the big thing here is for him, is it gives him an extra turn. So he uses this skill, it's going to reduce the cooldown of any skill he's used already. He can get back to the big ones afterward. So that's why something like that can be very useful. Strategically poisoning somebody, that could also be good too, right? Because after all, it is a single target. So if you have that same situation I just mentioned a moment ago, where somebody is dodging group attacks, I mean, you did this to them, right? But it's got a 2-round cooldown. You can just use this and poison them as well. Anyway, this guy is pretty darn good. You want this guy to go as fast as possible. You're going to want single runes of speed on him because he's starting off with a really good speed. The more you can increase it with multiples, the percentages, the better it is because your control has to go before their control. He is heavily into possession. Very important to remember that because if the enemies, once again, are immune to possession, if you have a Kothar, and he's ranked up once, that means he's an abomination, which means he's immune to all possession. So it could be very long day for this guy if he's trying to possess him, or a very short one, actually. In terms of the runes, as I mentioned, speed. You want this guy going as fast as possible. He starts off with a really good speed, even for a mythic, really good speed. So anything you can do to increase that so that he can get out in front of the other team is a really wonderful thing. Anyway, Azte, he is very good, very quick, and he's going to possess your enemies. So anyway, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. And play games, because games are fun. See ya.